Good evening, and thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. His Excellency, Mr. Piyush Srivastava, Ambassador of India to Bahrain, will be here in 2 minutes, and we shall start the program immediately. Your Excellency, Ambassador Piyush Srivastava, our Chief Guest, Dr. Mariam Al-Jalhama, CEO of the NHRA, our Guest of Honor, Dr. Abdurrahman Bouali, Dr. Verghese Kurian, our Guest of Honor, Chairman of the Al-Namal Group, distinguished guests, welcome to today's function, which is a celebration of an ancient science of healing, Ayurveda. This is the 6th Ayurveda Day that has been celebrated, and it is being done under the guidance of the Ministry of Ayush in India and the Embassy of India in Bahrain, whose patronage it is under. The theme for today is Ayurveda for Poshan, or for nutrition. This morning, one of the icons of Indian medicine, modern Indian medicine, Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah, who is the person who is behind biotechnology innovations in India, had put forth a very thought-provoking tweet. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we are all in the process of celebrating Diwali. So let me start first by wishing you all a happy Diwali. And it is a tradition to celebrate today, the day before Diwali, as Dhanteras. And usually we go and we buy a little piece of gold so that the rest of the year we have wealth wherever we go. But Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah specifically said, do not forget that Dhanteras is actually to mark the birth anniversary of sage Dhanvantri. Sage Dhanvantri is the father of Ayurvedic principles, and the biggest wealth that all of us can cherish and make sure that we have till the end of our lives is good health. So here's to good health, and here's to Ayurveda and how it can make it happen for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Ayurveda is, as you know, an ancient indigenous tradition of medicine in India, but it found a new calling and a new avatar in the 20th century when new research methodology, packaging, and how the medicines were processed to take it to greater distances in the form of tablets and potions and ointments made a complete difference to the process of treatment. In Bahrain, we are very lucky because the NHRA, in its wisdom, has supported Ayurveda, and we have some really stellar Ayurvedic medical centers as well as pharmacies to help us overcome any difficulties we may have with our health through the Ayurvedic process. I'd like you all to join me in giving a round of applause to the NHRA for its farsightedness. I would like to now call upon our guests to come and light the lamp, as is the tradition in all Indian functions, so that light is shed and we may walk down the path of light and knowledge. May I call upon Mr. Shekhar to please escort our ambassador, Shri Piyush Srivastava, and our chief guest, Ms. Dr. Mariam Jalhama, and our guests of honor, Dr. Abdurrahman Buali, and Dr. Varghese Kurian. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this event is brought to you under the patronage of the Embassy of India, and the event partners are the Kottakkal Ayurvedic Center, MEM Shantagiri, Gauranga Ayurvedic Center, and Vaidyaratnam, again an Ayurvedic center of great reputation. We are also partnered by Ramco Travel and Tourism. You will find stalls of all these organizations there. They are displaying Ayurvedic medications and cosmetics for you to take a look at and familiarize yourself. And Ramco Travel and Tourism is also offering Ayurvedic tour packages to Kerala. Without further ado, may I request our ambassador, Shri Piyush Srivastava, to deliver his inaugural address and start this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Meera Ravi. Your Excellency Dr. Mariam Al-Jalama, CEO NHRA, Dr. Abdul Rahman, former Under Secretary, Ministry of Health, senior officials of NHRA, Ms. Tracy Barrows, Mr. Varghese Kurian, heads and representatives from Indian Ayurveda centers and Indian associations in Bahrain, all Ayurveda lovers and eminent personalities present here, good evening. Best wishes to all of you on the occasion of Ayurveda Day. The celebrations for the festival of Deepavali have also started, and I would like to wish you all a very happy and prosperous Diwali. Ayurveda is believed to be amongst the most ancient and documented system of medicine with historic roots. Ayurveda is popular across the world with its twin aims of disease prevention and promotion of health. Since its inception in 2016, the Ayurveda Day has been celebrated every year. This year's theme is Ayurveda for Poshan, propagating the concept of Ayurveda in nutrition. The theme focuses on creating awareness of role of diet and nutrition and prevention and treatment of malnutrition through the concepts of Ayurveda Ahar. In the year 2020, WHO has chosen India as Global Center for Traditional Medicine. Ayurveda is a part of Indian heritage, and it is a matter of happiness that India's traditional knowledge is enriching other countries too. Importance of Ayurveda has come again to fore in these challenging times of COVID-19 pandemic. The demand for Ayurvedic products has increased rapidly all over the world. Significant increase in export of spices like turmeric, ginger, considered as immunity boosters, shows the sudden boost in confidence in Ayurvedic solutions and Indian spices in the world. World's prestigious medical journals are also seeing new hope in Ayurveda. Health sector, including traditional medicine, has been an important component of our deep-rooted and multifaceted bilateral cooperation between India and Kingdom of Bahrain. This sector has acquired significance, particularly in the post-COVID scenario. India is one of the top exporters of alternative medicines in the world. The government of India has placed great emphasis on development of this sector, which has seen its tremendous advancement in recent years. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Bahrain has a strong healthcare sector and favorable regulatory environment. India has good presence in Ayurveda and homeopathy sector in Bahrain and aspires to further consolidate with it by contributing to its already strong healthcare infrastructure. Today we have amongst us several experts and successful practitioners of Ayurveda. I am sure like me you all are eagerly waiting to listen to them. So I would stop here, but before concluding, let me once again wish all of you a very happy Ayurveda Day and the organizers, including the Ayurveda centers in Bahrain, for organizing such a wonderful workshop. And I understand that we will also get a taste of Ayurvedic products and all. So we are greatly looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, before I call our chief guest, Dr. Mariam Al-Jalahama, to say a few words, may I quickly take you through the program of this evening. We will be focusing on Ayurveda for good health and nutrition. And for that, we shall have a talk by Ms. Tracy Burrows, who will speak the voice of experience. She walks the talk when it comes to Ayurveda, yoga, and good health. And we shall also hear from Dr. Abdurrahman Bouali. He is a noted practitioner of alternative and holistic therapies, and we want to hear from him too on what his feelings are for Ayurveda and ancient practices from India. And now it is time for us to hear from Dr. Mariam Al-Jalahama, Madam. Please.
Excellency, the Ambassador of India, Dr. Abdurrahman, Mr. Verghese, esteemed guests, I'm very happy and honored to participate with you tonight in the celebration of Ayurveda Day, Ayurveda for nutrition, and as they say, you are what you eat. So I think it's very interesting to see how Ayurvedic medicine can improve our nutrition. I'm very happy to be here tonight to meet you all and see the fruit that we worked for in 2016 with my colleague to develop the regulations for alternative and complementary medicine in Bahrain that was not regulated before. We worked very hard. I know maybe for some of the centers it's been very difficult, but at the end, our aim is to bring to Bahrain safe and high quality alternative and complementary medicine. So thank you very much for being patient with us, working with us on improving the regulations, and we are very happy to participate with you for any future projects or any investments that will also bring quality of such practices to Bahrain. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jalahama. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be interested to know that whenever you go to the Ayurvedic centers that are there in Bahrain, especially the event partners of today, over the weekend you will find so many of our neighbors from neighboring Saudi Arabia and even as far as Kuwait coming to Bahrain to partake of Ayurvedic medical treatment. So I know that this has a lot of potential, and Bahrain encourages medical tourism as well, and that is something all of us are so thankful for, the broad-mindedness and the vision of the Bahrain government. May I now call upon Dr. Abdurrahman Bouali to please share his wisdom with us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And happy Diwali to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, dignitaries and excellencies, Your Excellency Ambassador, Your Excellency Chief Guest, CEO, National Health Regulatory Authority, Dr. Mariam Al-Jalahmi, Your Excellency, Guest of Honor, Mr. Verghese Korean, Chairman of An Group of Companies, dear friends, I think I know many of you in this audience, Mr. Shaker, my dear friend, Mr. and Mrs. Ravi.
Thank you so much.
Ravi is here. Miss Tracy, I just met you today and I'm pleased to have met you. And I'm eager to listen to your speech as a key speaker. Good evening to you all. And best wishes from Bahrain and from the people of Bahrain on the occasion of the World Ayurvedic Day under the theme of Ayurveda for nutrition. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, 400 BC, stated, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." Hippocrates said this 400 BC, but I think Ayurvedic medicine was 5,000 years old. So he must have taken it from your Vedas and from your culture. But what is meant by food is not only what we eat. It is much more than that. It is what we think, it's what we feel, it's what we believe in, it's what we learn, it's what we see, how the world is, and how we see life and living. Be mindful of the things you put in your temple, that is yourself, physically, mentally, and spiritually. On this occasion, and due to time limitations, I will address you with 3 short, in fact, messages. First is a word of thanks and a deep appreciation to the organizers of this event. Thank you very much for holding this event in Bahrain on this occasion. Second, I would like to express my love, gratitude, and appreciation to our Indian community in Bahrain. Though we are humbly small in size and in the domain of geography, yet we are vast in the domain of love. We look at all those who worked with us and help us in developing our country with great respect, appreciation, and love. So thank you very much. Last but not least, I would like to thank the chief guest, my dear, wonderful Dr. Mariam, CEO Nahra, and her wonderful team for their achievement in establishing various systems of complementary medicine to work together with modern Western medicine as a holistic health approach in the healthcare service. She has done, Dr. Mariam, you have done wonderful. You and your team, thank you very much. Thank you all again. Happy Diwali to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
And best wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdurrahman Buali. It is always a pleasure to hear you, and you always have something so good to say to all of us, thought-provoking words of wisdom that we can take back and put into practice in our life. Thank you, sir. The main speaker for today, ladies and gentlemen, will be a lady whom many of us know. She is a person who is not of India, but an Indophile, and has traveled more often than many of us have to Kerala. And Tracy Burrows is passionate about yoga and about Ayurveda. And not very long ago, during the COVID crisis, she even came forward with a video where she talked about how these two ancient Indian practices actually helped her when she succumbed to COVID and helped her beat it. And the video was so thought-provoking and so powerful that the Indian embassy also had run it in its website. Tracy speaks the voice of experience, and she is going to talk to us for a short time today. But ladies and gentlemen, she's going to be around, so after today's talk, you can catch up with her and ask her questions if you want as well. The other thing we have today, ladies and gentlemen, is after Tracy speaks, we shall be having a demonstration of Ayurvedic cooking, which will be presented to us by none other than the Taj Group of Hotels from India over Zoom online, and that you can watch on the big screen here. Even as we talk, this program is being streamed online on Zoom, and I'm sure many people are watching that as well. So that is in store for you. And at the end of this, you will get a taste of what Ayurvedic food really is when we have our high tea. We have a few discussions with doctors from the various centers as well to round off the evening. Without further ado, may I call upon Ms. Tracy Burrows to join us on stage.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy to be here on this day where we are celebrating Diwali. Happy Diwali, everybody. And also the sacred lineage of Ayurveda on a day where we are focusing on our health and on the health of our loved ones. And I wanted to first of all let you know my first experience of Ayurveda was in India, as Meera very kindly said. I am an Indiophile. And my first experience took place in India, and I'm very glad about that. I have gone on to study with other teachers in the West, but what I realized from studying in India and being in India is that the Ayurveda is so tightly woven into the fabric of Indian society. For somebody like me, sometimes it's difficult to know where Ayurveda ends and culture and tradition begins. And I often talk to Indian women about Ayurveda, and they will say things to me like, oh, my grandma used to do that, or my grandma used to have us do that when we were kids, but I didn't know it was Ayurveda. And my reply is always the same. Listen to grandma, she's right. So it's this grandma's Ayurveda, the dinacharya, the daily habits, rituals, routines that I incorporate into my work and into my life. So given that the theme tonight is food and nutrition, I would love to share with you some practical Ayurvedic principles around food and eating that you can incorporate into your daily lives, into your busy modern daily lives. So the first tip that I have for you is about eating in line with your body's natural rhythm, with your circadian rhythm. A few years ago, a group of scientists won the Nobel Prize for their work into circadian medicine. And circadian rhythm is the rhythm, the day-night, light-dark cycle that our bodies are synchronized to. So this means that our bodies perform certain functions in the daytime when it's light, and certain functions at night when it's dark and when we're asleep. So one of the functions that our body doesn't perform at night is digestion. We only digest food in the daytime. So this is my first tip. eat in line with your body's natural rhythm. It makes sense then that we eat our heaviest meal in the middle of the day when the digestion is very strong. I always liken the power of our digestion to the sun. It's cool in the morning, it's blazing in the middle of the day, and it's cool in the evening. So it makes sense to eat your most nutrient-dense and most difficult to digest food in the middle of the day. I'm guessing nobody here has a grandma who's eating heavy meals at 10, 11 o'clock midnight. Grandma's kitchen's probably closed by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So you listen to Grandma on that one. She got that right. Modern science has proven it. So the next tip I have for you is about seasonal eating. And this comes in 3 short points. The first one is about the microbiome, the health of our gut. We have this incredible inner universe in our gut called the microbiome, made up from bacteria and microbes. And in order to keep this healthy, we need to eat seasonally, because the microbiome itself changes seasonally. In order to have a healthy body and a healthy brain, we need to have this healthy gut environment. So what our microbiome really loves, what makes it so happy, is when we change what we eat seasonally, because it's changing seasonally. The next tip that I have for you, also on seasonal eating, is about diversity. There are 20,000 species of edible plants that we know of right now, and we're eating around 20% of those most of the time. So again, when we eat seasonally, we are diversifying. We're diversifying the amount and the kind of foods that we're putting on our plate if we're changing with the season. So we can go some way towards diversifying the amount and the different kinds of species that we're eating. And this is a good idea, because the more diverse the foods that we're eating, the more diverse range of nutrients that we can take into our body to create healthy bodily tissues and to give us energy and take care of our overall health. The third point on seasonal eating is about balance, and we've just come through a very hot summer here in Bahrain, and again, I doubt any of us were spending hours slaving over a hot cooker in the kitchen. We keep ourselves in balance. We do this naturally without even thinking about it. During the hot months in the summer, we're making cooling foods, hydrating foods, watery foods, foods that keep us balanced and help us to try and manage excess heat during the hot weather. So if we eat seasonally, again, we are keeping our internal environment in balance and healthy by trying to balance out what's happening in the external environment. So whatever's happening in our external environment, any excesses, we are balancing out by eating seasonally, and of course eating in line with our constitution and our dosha. So the next tip, I have 2 more to share. The next one is about eating mindfully, and I like to share my experience of being in the ashram in Kerala. I've spent a lot of time in different ashrams in Kerala, and for me, this is the gold star in mindful eating. When we go into the ashram and we sit down at the long tables, we sit down in silence, and the first thing that we do is chant a prayer of gratitude. So before we've even eaten, we've infused ourselves with the energy of gratitude. And then when we chant the prayer, we're regulating our breath. And when we regulate our breath, we take ourselves into relaxation response. Again, our body can't digest food when we're stressed. Not just mentally stressed, that we create physical stress in our bodies if we're eating quickly, or we're on the laptop eating, watching TV, on the phone, not paying attention. We can create this environment of stress in the body, in which case we can't digest our food. So, regulating the breath, starting the meal with the energy of gratitude. And then as we're eating, we're not talking. We're very mindful of what we're eating. And because I'm very slow, I'm not used to eating with my hands, I also find it slows me down, so I'm aware of what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, and I'm engaging all the senses, the sense of touch, the smell, the taste. So my digestive juices are flowing even before the food has gone into my mouth. So mindful eating, really important. And then the final tip that I wanted to share with you is about eating intuitively. And I thought I'd share an experience that I had this weekend when I was grocery shopping, and had my shopping list and was looking, since we're coming into autumn season now, had a few seasonal items on my shopping list. Apples was on my list, so I went to the supermarket. And we're very lucky in Bahrain that we have such a huge range, quite a diverse range of foods that we can choose from. And there were probably about 10 different kinds of apples. And as I stood in front of them, trying to choose which ones, nothing was speaking to me. But I really wanted apples because they're coming into season and I know it's good for me. So I turned around and I saw the oranges and they were shouting, "Buy me, buy me." Had to buy the oranges. So I bought the oranges. This is our body's innate wisdom telling us what it needs. If we listen, if you listen to your body, it will tell you what it needs. This is why in the summer we crave light, cooling, hydrating foods, maybe a bit of sweetness, maybe a little bit of bitterness. And this is why in the winter we crave heavier, starchy, more carbohydrate type foods. So if you listen to your body, it will tell you what it wants. So those are my tips, very simple tips. These are all ways that you can start to integrate the principles of Ayurveda into your life very easily, very simply. So I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone once again. Thank you to the organisers, to your excellencies, and thank you very much to Mira for inviting me to speak this evening. And please feel free to come and chat afterwards. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for those tips. I think it demystifies how we can incorporate Ayurvedic food into our everyday lives. And to take you further on this journey, ladies and gentlemen, we had actually planned that in our lineup of programs, we'd listen to some experiences from people who have benefited from Ayurveda, and then move on to the culinary demo from the Taj Group. However, I have just been told that since the culinary demo is from India and it's fairly late in India right now, we are going to shuffle things around a little bit and have the demo right now and then follow up with the last part of our program. So here's an introduction of what is in wait for you. For travelers to India, there is a Taj other than the iconic marble ode to romance in Agra. And it is the Taj, which is the world's strongest hotel brand of the Indian Hotels Company Limited. Embodying the spirit of Tajness, authentic original palaces, landmark hotels, idyllic resorts and natural safari lodges interpret the tradition of hospitality in a refreshingly modern way to create unique experiences and lifelong memories. And now you have the Taj award-winning Jiva Wellness brand as well. The culinary component of the Jiva Spas is called Energize from Taj Hotels and Jiva Spas. And they are presenting a new range of curated meals with a focus on strengthening your immunity, just like Tracy told us now. This has been developed in partnership with Ayurveda Shala Kottakkal, and the menu features fresh, homegrown ingredients packed with antioxidants and immune-boosting superfoods. This evening, we are proud to collaborate with Taj Jiva Spa and present to you a contemporary interpretation of Ayurvedic cuisine by the Jiva Wellness Ambassador Sherik Dureraj and Chef Karthik of Jiva, Taj's award-winning wellness brand. The dish that will be demonstrated is peseret, a mildly spiced pancake made of moong dal. This is a traditional specialty from the kitchens of Andhra Pradesh. But then, before I get into telling you more about this gourmet specialty, let us go over to the Taj kitchens and meet up with the Jiva ambassador, Sherik Doreraj, and Chef Karthik. Over to you.
Namaste. Jiva at the Taj West End, Bengaluru welcomes you to join us in today's live stream, Energize with Energize cooking demonstration. I am Sherik Durairaj, your Jiva Wellness Ambassador, and along with me is Chef Karthik Mangipuri. And together, we're going to take you through an appetizing session that has been mindfully put together to celebrate the 6th National Ayurveda Day. National Ayurveda Day is celebrated every year on Dhanvantri Jayanti with the aim to create awareness and promote Ayurveda principles that we can follow in our day-to-day lives. For centuries, Ayurveda has emphasized on the role of food in health and disease. Ayurveda believes that energy, attitude, intention, and feeling get infused into the cooking, which then get absorbed by the person receiving it, thereby maintaining their health. Hence, each time you cook, do so in a conscious, happy, and grateful manner with the right ingredients, the right food combination, in the right cooking vessel, so as to gain the maximum benefit. Now, let's start the cooking. Namaste, Karthik.
Namaste, Chef.
So, what are we going to cook today?
So, as we got the introduction that we are going to do pesarettu, which is a dosa from Andhra Pradesh. So, it's a very different and a very unique dosa actually. So, instead of using the normal urad dal, we are going to use sprouted moong dal.
Okay.
So, sprouted moong dal is because it has many advantages in terms of health and benefits are concerned. So, this moong dal we had to soak overnight, and once sprouts start to germinate, that is the correct consistency where you can make the batter out.
Okay.
So before we go into the procedure, let me introduce the ingredients to you.
Sure.
So as I said, we have the sprouted moong dal, and we have ghee, then we have some chopped onions, some chopped ginger, some jaggery, and some green chili.
Okay.
So let us go to the making of the batter right now.
All right.
So for the batter, what we need to do is we need to take one bowl of these sprouted moong dal. Along with that, we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of ginger, and 1.5 teaspoons of green chili, as the batter needs to be little on the spicier side. And then for this, we're going to add a cup of water to it, just to make the consistency like a dosa. And we're going to blend it to a smooth paste.
While you're blending, Karthik, could you tell us what are the health benefits of using green moong?
So green moong or mukta, that is what you call it in Ayurveda, is a very what do you say, sattvic legume with Ayurveda, and it is very rich in your protein source. It's a natural vegetarian protein. It's very good for your health. And then it is very the aftertaste of the dosa will be little sweeter on the side, which very and it helps in digestion as well. And why I'm adding green chilies is green chilies also act as your antioxidant. And ginger is considered as one of the superfoods in Ayurveda because it has many benefits, like it helps in digestion, it helps in reducing your cold. As you know, people when you have cold or something, your mom or grandmom, they ask you to have a cup of ginger tea or a ginger water or ginger milk. It's because ginger has these sedative factors also in it. So what happens is it naturally tells the body that you need to rest. So once the body rests, what happens is your immunity will be developed and it fights with your cold that is there inside the body. So that is why these three ingredients are needed to make this.
To make this, right.
So now let us see how to make it. So once the dosa is made, the batter would be of this consistency. And I'm going to slowly so to this, we're going to add some chopped onions, some chopped ginger, a little bit of green chilies, some jaggery that we need to add. Just to cut down the spice,
Right.
we'll be adding a little bit of jaggery to it. And we're going to use the cooking medium as ghee, which is also a superfood in Ayurveda.
Right.
You can be generous with the ghee because, as you know, ghee is also very rich in your proteins. So as you can see, the dosa is almost getting done.
Right.
So just trying to check getting done. So in Andhra Pradesh, what generally people who are like these farmers and all, they love this dosa because it gives them the energy that is needed for the whole day.
Right.
Because they farmers are someone who actually work on field
Correct.
in bright sun and all. They need this energy. They need this protein source. So they prefer this as their breakfast. In many villages in Andhra Pradesh, and they have this. That will suffice their almost the whole day. And once they come back, they'll have the dinner and then they'll call it a day.
Right.
As you can see, dosa is getting crisp. It's now time to let it out.
Now this looks like a really pretty plate of food, Karthik. In addition to the dosa, we can see that you have selected a couple of other ingredients
Yes.
to accompany this particular dosa. So could you tell us what these are and why you've selected them?
So I'll start with the ghee.
Okay.
Ghee being the superfood, and you can dip the dosa in it just to have a little more richness to it. And then tomato. Tomato is generally acidic in nature, so it cut down the fattiness of the dosa.
Okay.
And coconut chutney is something which every person in India relishes a dosa with. And jaggery. Why am I using jaggery? Because jaggery is a very medicinal ingredient in when you go around it, because it is used in your ancient Ayurvedic medicines as well.
Right.
So that is one of the reasons, because it is a very rich protein source. So it will help you in digestion and all.
That's wonderful. So as you can see, a very, very simple dish, but extremely wholesome, full of protein, which will give you enough energy to sustain any kind of jobs that you do during the day. But one very important thing to remember, whenever you eat, always pay gratitude. Annadata Sukhi Bhava. This is something we believe. Gratitude to everything and everyone who contributes in preparing the meal that you have. To Mother Nature, to the farmers that create the food, to all the home cooks, the chefs that pour their heart and soul into making a dish memorable and nutritious for you. Thank you so much for joining us on our little session. On behalf of the Taj Group of Hotels and the Jiva Spa team, namaste.
Thank you so much for listening in and watching. I'm sure this has given you a lot of ideas on what you can do to incorporate Ayurvedic cuisine into your everyday life. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no telling you how efficacious Ayurveda can be if we don't bring to you some true life stories of how people have benefited from Ayurvedic treatments. So without further ado, we would like to call upon just 3 people who are here who have visited the different Ayurvedic centers in the course of finding something that will help them overcome certain health difficulties that they faced. The first person I would like to call on stage is Mr. Khalil Al-Mullah. He is a gentleman who has come all the way from Saudi Arabia. So please give him a big hand. And he's going to tell us how he found Ayurveda effective.
Good evening, all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my experience and also express my appreciation to Ayurveda medicine in general and Kotakal clinic here in Bahrain in specific, because I have been receiving treatment by them since 2013 now. I have my own experience, and also I have witnessed the experience of several other people who were treated successfully by Ayurveda medicine, including my mother. She was suffering of severe back pain. It was diagnosed as back disc. And she was supposed to go through surgical operation. For her age and weight, that would be very difficult for her. But thank you for Ayurveda. Through the treatment, she avoided the surgical operation, and the pain was relieved, and she was able to go back to normal life. And the same with my mother also. She had knee friction, and exactly the same thing happened with the knee friction. She was supposed to go through surgical operation, but through the Ayurveda, am I stressy? Ayurveda? Yes. Ayurveda. She avoided the operation, the pain was relieved, and she was able to again go back to normal activities. My personal experience, I've had migraine headache now for almost 30 years. And all I was given by neurologists is a painkiller. And when my body get used to the painkiller, they gave me a stronger painkiller and more strong painkiller and so on. To the point where I got severe disease that was diagnosed as migraine associated vertigo, which is a disease because of the migraine headache. That was difficult. I almost lost my job because of chronic medicine situation. But again, I came to Kotakal, and through Ayurveda treatment, it took some time, few months, but eventually I went back to normal life. I saved my job and back to normal activities. These are the experiences of my mother and my own. I have the experience of other people, but this is good for the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Mr. Roel Goenen.
Raise your hand if you ever experience bloated in your life. Put them all together. That's how bloated I felt 4 months ago. I even thought I was pregnant. Good evening. A warm greetings to Dr. Mariam Al-Jalama, His Excellency Mr. Piyush Srivastava, Dr. Abdul Rahman Buali, and Dr. Verghese Korean, and my fellow bloaters. Dr. Ravi Kumar is a patient, attentive, investigative, knowledgeable, respectful, compassionate, calm, good listener, and trustworthy. I can finish the ABC, but I only have limited time. When I first came to him in June 2021, he directly told me, the root cause of your problem is the way you eat. Like what Dr. Mariam has said, you are what you eat. He said, you have dumped everything there. Now it's haunting you like Halloween. It was so powerful and awakening that a doctor whom I have met for the first time has been so frank but caring. Then he said the magic sentence, I can help you if you will help yourself help me. Then he started, Roel, no meat, no oil, no dairy products, no gassy vegetables, no gassy fruits, no coffee, no tea. Come on, it's Bahrain. You should have something, right? And said, no soft drinks. What do you mean, no Pepsi? I said, no, doc, it cannot be. It's not possible. I'm not going to listen to you. And he said, you're doing this for your kidney. You're doing this for your heart. You're doing this for your family. He said family. Then that changed all. Ever since that day, it's all about healthy living. Healthy foods. I walked 3 to 4 kilometers a day until now. I could have gone throughout Bahrain for the last 4 months. If you accumulate the kilometers I've walked, drinking my refreshing Jeera water, really refreshing. That's my soft drinks now. Vegetables and fruits, no meat, no soft drinks. From 89 kg, imagine 89 kg. Now I'm 67. Wait, there's more. My BP meds was removed. Whenever I drink my BP meds, I get dizzy. Doctor said, remove that. My uric acid is now normal. My GFR is rising. My blood sugar at 4.8. I'm no longer snoring. My wife is more happy now. And most of all, I look and feel younger. I even have a new name at work, Ibn Roel. Before I end, raise your hand if you believe medicines can cure diseases, but only doctors can cure patients. Put them all together and let's give them a round of applause. I wish Dr. Ravi was here, but I think he went for vacation. I'm going to see him soon. Thank you to Dr. Ravi, to the rest of Kotakal Ayurveda staff. Happy anniversary, happy Diwali, and I wish you all safe and pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roel. You said raise your hands and everything else, and I must tell you, you raised our hopes also. So many of us will be following your example. The third person who will be speaking today is Mr. Radhakrishna Pillai. I call him on stage to share his experience of how Ayurveda changed his life.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm given only 1 minute, so I have jotted down my speech to save time. First of all, my heartiest greetings on the occasion of World Ayurvedic Day and Diwali. As Miss Tracy has pointed out, Ayurveda has been part of every Indian's life from time immemorial. Kerala, from where I come, has given huge importance to the practice and research of Ayurveda. Kerala itself is home to 15 Ayurveda medical colleges and hundreds of Ayurveda hospitals. And thousands of patients are admitted and treated there every year. Most of the hotels and resorts in Kerala are now having Ayurveda treatment centers as part of medical tourism. Coming back to my experience with Ayurveda treatment, I know of numerous cases in which Ayurveda treatment has been successful with patients who did not get relief from modern medicines. One of my close relatives, who was 22 years old, was diagnosed with acute liver disease on a blood test and further investigation. His LFT report, liver function test report, was pointing towards liver cancer. Both SGOT and SGPT values were around 300, where the normal values should be below 50. He consulted many gastro specialists in Trivandrum, and they gave medications, but still the values remained high. Finally, he was admitted in Vellore Medical College, which is supposed to be one of the best medical colleges in India. And he was asked to undergo liver biopsy as they were suspecting malignancy. But the parents were not ready to do biopsy, but as it can lead to complications. And they discussed the issue with me. I advised them to go to Kottail Ayurvedishala and consult the Valiya Vaidyan. He was alive that time, Dr. P.K. Arvaria. This was around 12 years back. The Vaidyan, the doctor, after examining the patient, gave some medicines and prescribed a new diet for him. You won't believe what, within 1 year, his LFT values were reduced to less than 50. Now he is around 35 years, living in Bahrain, married with 2 kids, and leading a happy life without any liver complications. Another case is of an ex-resident of Bahrain, who is now working in the US after his master's. Mr. Shekhar knows this patient. On a routine medical checkup in US, he was found to have infected with hepatitis B, which is as dangerous as HIV. The SB-SAG, that is a value in the blood test, was found to be over 1,000, whereas the normal value should be around 100. Neither the allopathic doctors in the US nor their counterparts in India, whom he consulted, could not do much. I advised them to go to Kottakkal. With the help of Mr. Shekhar, he got an appointment with a senior doctor in Kottakkal Hospital, Kerala. The doctor, after examination, gave him medicine for 6 months, and he went back to US. After 6 months, he tested his blood for hepatitis and found that the SB-SAG value is around 100, which is normal. The American doctors whom he consulted were surprised with this magical medicine, and the boy is now leading a normal life. It's almost a year back. In closing, I need to emphasize the fact that there's a need to promote Ayurveda globally, which has no side effects compared to English medicines. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. Thank you.
There was one slogan that I read recently which said, Ayurveda has no side effects, only side benefits. And that is so true, Mr. Radhakrishnan. Ladies and gentlemen, a reminder once again that this event has been brought to you under the patronage of the Embassy of India. And the event partners are the Kottakkal Ayurvedic Center, the MEM Shantagiri, which is known for its pain management treatments, the Vaidyaratnam Ayurvedic Center, and the Gauranga Ayurvedic Center. And we also have a travel partner, Ramco Travel and Tourism, which can organize Ayurvedic tourism packages to Kerala. So please feel free to browse through the kiosks that have been placed there, and you all can get more information. You all can even talk to Tracy Burrows after this event and also partake of our Ayurvedic high tea. Before we close, we have just one last segment, which is our Ayurvedic doctors are going to be on stage, I believe, and can take just a couple of questions from the audience. So if the doctors are ready, we'd like to have them on stage. I believe we have a mic as well to pass around the audience. Mr. Pankaj, we have a mic? We do. Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you have any questions or doubts about Ayurveda, you could use this opportunity to check with our doctors. You can raise your hand and the mic will come to you. Mr. Kishore Kevalram, please give the mic to Mr. Kevalram.
Hello?
Yeah, it's working.
Hi, thank you for an excellent presentation. Really appreciate it. Just a small thing, just wanted to check how does Ayurveda help in reducing blood pressure, hypertension?
Okay, sir, let me just explain. Actually, Ayurveda is not treating a disease, like as you asked, like just for hypertension. Like it depends on like what your constitution is, like what are the doshas which is fluctuating as per your diet and as per your routine. Accordingly, we give you advice. Once you follow that, it's not just hypertension. As the speaker had mentioned earlier about Dr. Ravi Kumar's treatment, it's a combination of all these things together which helps to reduce the blood pressure. So there is no single remedy we say, okay, prescribe this, take this medicine, that will solve your problem. No. It's a combination of everything together which works.
Is that mic working? It is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anybody else who has a question? Oh, Dr. Mariam. Dr. Mariam, here.
Thank you very much for all the events that preceded the meeting the doctors, and I'm happy to be with you here. One of the experiences we heard is about managing back pain and disc. So does this also apply in the whole lifestyle and management? Can you explain how that can help a patient?
Sure, Dr. Mariam. I think I'm audible. Yeah. Even in back pain, like the basic concept of Ayurveda, I think you know the balance of three doshas or the three energies. We say the balance of energy is called as a healthy condition. Any imbalance in the energy is considered as a disease condition. So like even in back pain, we judge accordingly. There are various factors which like make a hindrance to this dosha balance. So once we try to balance that hindrance, it should be treated very well. So it's a combination therapy like lifestyle plus internal medication plus external therapies. First of all, we need to find out like Each patient has a different constitution. So a patient coming with back pain.
Why don't you come here and use
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. When a patient comes to us, we don't prescribe the same kind of medication for each patient who is coming with back pain. We need to consider different aspects. Basically, the constitution, that is the basic principle of Ayurveda. That's why, just for an example, I'll tell you, in our family, we all are having the same kind of food, same kind of things. But as every individual, how they assimilate things, the disease caused by the same kind of food is different. Why is it so? It solely depends on your constitution, the way you are able to digest these things, the way it is being assimilated into your system. So for individualization is very important in Ayurveda. There is no common treatment like for back pain, this is the remedy. For neck pain, this is the remedy. No. It's like we have to see the individual as a whole, see where the imbalance is, give them the advices to correct the imbalance, the problem will be solved. Thank you, ma'am.
So the message that comes strongly from the doctors is that in Ayurveda there is no one-size-fits-all. Each person is treated as an individual, and that is why this is called a holistic therapy. Yes, ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Shinida told, I also emphasize that this Ayurveda treatment is not personal like that. No, it's personal. It is not for the disease. It is for the patient. It is differ person to person according to his body constitution, condition, and food, and the exercise, everything it is. So it is purely personal. It differs patient to patient. For back pain or any disease, it depends on the patient, not for the disease. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Would the last doctor like to add something?
Myself, Dr. Adulya Udekrishnan. I am working in Middle East Medical Center, HIT. So, in this occasion, I would like to give a small message for all of you. So, normally people used to see a doctor when they have a condition. Just like if somebody have back pain, they will check for the list of doctors where all famous doctors are working. But in Ayurvedic aspect, if we say in Ayurvedic aspect, it doesn't mean that we need to get a condition to go to a doctor. Before getting a condition, the main aim of Ayurveda is swasthasya swasthya rakshanam aturasya vikara prashanam cha. That means before getting a condition, we can go in such a life that we will not get that condition. That means prevention is better than cure. So you can nicely go to an Ayurvedic doctor and you can get a list how the food habits and how you need to lead your life depending on your pillars. Mainly Vata, Pitta and Kapha. We can say air. Normally, if I say air, water, earth like this, most of the people knows because they have gone through this thing. So, for my message is prevention is better than cure. So, before getting a condition, you need to go with an Ayurvedic aspect of life. Especially in this day, it's regarding the nutritions. So, swasthasya swasthya rakshanam aturasya vikara prashanam cha. So, prevention is better than cure. This is my message for it.
Before we close, there is just one question I understand from Mr. Soman Baby.
Doctor, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I just diabetes is a very, very common problem in Bahrain. If people come to Ayurveda, what type of treatment you give to them? Actually, is there any permanent cure for Ayurveda, for diabetes?
It's a very valuable question, I'll say, because so many patients have been asking us all these questions. diabetes, even in Ayurveda, diabetes is listed under Shuddra Roga, which is very difficult to treat because it's not a single entity which is causing diabetes. So as you asked, like there is a permanent cure, it depends on various factors. If the patient is coming to us on an early stage, if the patient's body is very healthy enough, because the Roga diabetes, we need to treat up to the cells, we say like up to the tissue level. That kind of deep-rooted disease is diabetes. So like if they're coming at an early stage, we are able to mold the body in such a manner, like they can just follow the lifestyle advices and some basic medication from Ayurveda, by which they'll be able to avoid like popping up pills for the whole life. But when it advances, we don't have a complete cure for that. But only thing what we can do is by adding Ayurvedic medicines, we'll be able to reduce the number of tablets they are popping in every day. At least like if you reduce one tablet in a year, you can avoid 365 tablets. So that's the aim. There is no like complete cure for diabetes in Ayurveda, but depends on which stage the patient is coming. There are many cases, even this is my 17th year in Bahrain here. So in my experience, like there are many patients who came very early to us when the diabetes was just borderline. And till this date, they are still taking some Ayurvedic remedies and lifestyle advices without popping in pills. So depends on which stage the patient reaches at. But one thing is for sure, diabetes is listed under Shuddra Roga, which is one of like difficult rogas to treat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies. You all have been a wonderful audience, very interactive and very receptive to the knowledge that has come here. I would like to call upon Mr. Shekhar, one of our key organizers from Kottakkal, to please give the vote of thanks. And after this, please do join us for a taste of Ayurvedic high tea.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Ayurvedic community, I would like to thank the Ambassador of India, His Excellency Mr. Piyush Srivastava, for giving us this opportunity to host such an event. Mr. Ravi Kumar Jain was the main pillar who supported and guided us all through. Thanks to him. All of us from the Ayurvedic fraternity unanimously and profusely thank Dr. Mariam Al-Jalama, the CEO of NHRA, for being so kind to grace this occasion as a chief guest. During the pandemic, when we were out of work, Dr. Jalama formulated an apt SOP for our operation and gave us the much needed oxygen to survive. Her wise decision is a story of our survival now. From the bottom of our heart, we thank all the NHRA officials who are present here. We would also like to thank all the NHRA officials who have been very supportive to us. Your support is our progress. A special mention on Madam Namath for her brilliant suggestion to document our recovery rates. I have already shared this with the Indian Embassy and we plan to take it forward. I can't even think of having such a program without the participation of Dr. Abdul Rahman Buali. He is a living example and a true practitioner of healthy living. I consider him as a walking encyclopedia. I have counted on him always and I have taken him for granted right from 2003 when I initially flagged off this venture. Mr. Varghese Kurian is one amongst us as organizers. His support to this event is greatly appreciated. Thank you for being our guest of honor. Special thanks from our side to Ms. Tracy Burrows for your lovely talk on healthy living. I would also like to extend my special thanks to Mr. Ajay, board member of Kottakkal Ayurveda Shala, for arranging the Taj Cookery Show. I also thank the Taj Group, Ms. Shushmita, Sharik and Karthik for supporting this event, which has added glamour to the program. A special thanks to Mr. Khalil Al-Mullah, Mr. Rovel and Mr. Radhakrishna Pillai for sharing their experiences with us. All of you are our backbone and we are indebted to you for the faith you have imposed in us. We look forward to your continued support in future too. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Meera Ravi, for comparing this event so very well. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We have great pleasure in inviting you to partake of our high tea, which will give you a taste of how easily you can put together an Ayurvedic meal. Thank you.